Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks. This is my best friend and co-host D-Lo, and we are Too Complex. We got a good episode in store for y'all today, but before we get into the content, I need you to do three things. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And we love all of y'all that's subscribing. We still got that goal of 450, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. And also hit that notification bell so you miss none of these bangers.
Yes, sir.
That we drop every single week. My boy, D-Lo.
My boy, my guy.
Another weekend, man. How was your week this week, G?
It was good, man. Last week was good. On our last episode, I said we needed to spice it up a bit, do a little bit more in our personal lives.
Yeah.
The next day, the wife drags me and the family out. We went to a festival in the park. It was a real chill family-like vibe. Just having a good time, spending time with the family. During the week, same old, doing the 9 to 5 grind, but enjoying that is where I can and finding time to spend time with my family where I can. What about you? How was your week last week?
Everything was cool, man. I mean, I've been getting up to speed with a lot of things with the new career. Got my new at-home workstation that they sent to me, and had a lot of meetings this week as far as what to expect coming up on Monday, because whenever I start. So that was fun. That was fun. And I appreciate that. And of course I got Sam here with me this weekend. So we about to try to have a good time this weekend, when we're not, doing this and all that good stuff. So go ahead, go make it happen, man. The last week has been exciting, to say the least, because of the new step in my career. So it's going to be fun, bro. It's definitely going to be fun, bro.
I got it.
Definitely going to be fun.
It's coming up on that season that I don't care too much about, man. Halloween, I never have been a fan of Halloween. Oh, you don't? I thought you did like Halloween.
Thanksgiving and Christmas. Halloween, not so much. Sam is excited about it most of the time, but because it's around her birthday, she get to dress up, and her birthday's literally the next day on the 1st. So she's kind of excited about it. But me, I mean, you get to driving past your favorite coffee shops, and all you smell is pumpkin spice. And I'm not a big pumpkin spice person. I don't care for it.
Now that's one thing I can't indulge in.
You mess with the I don't like it, bro.
I like sweets.
Yeah, true.
Like pumpkin spice donuts from Krispy Kreme. I know y'all don't have a Krispy. Do y'all have a Krispy Kreme?
Yeah, we do. Heck yeah.
Since when?
What you mean?
I thought Krispy Kreme was like only an East Coast thing.
Nah, we got a Krispy Kreme right up by the Tacoma Mall. Me and Sam go there all the time.
Oh, them
we definitely indulge. But I wonder what Crumble gonna have for this season.
Stop doing it.
I know,
bro.
but I
stop doing it. I haven't been in a while.
But now I'm about to itch that sweet tooth now in a minute, huh?
Yeah, man. I was talking about it earlier this week. Now I was like, I don't need to go. I ain't been in a while.
And now here I go bringing this sweet tooth back.
Last 2 weeks.
I ain't been in a minute either. The last time I had some, my lady sent me a bunch of them, and me and Sam was in here crushing them, and I ain't had them since then, which was probably about 2-3 weeks ago. So that was the last time I had them. I had them more recently than you, but the last time you had them when I was there.
No, I think I had it one time after that, which like maybe a week after you left or 2 weeks after you left. And then I haven't had them since then. I haven't had those, or I've made my own version of whatever they have that week. I try to do that. So, but anyway, I can indulge in the pumpkin spice around the fall Halloween time, but the actual scariness and all that, I've never liked Halloween, and it's been inherited from my mom. She didn't like it, so kind of passed down to me. There's a lot of things that she don't like, I don't like. She don't like cats, I don't like cats. And the irony of everything is everything that I have an issue with as far as Halloween and cats and all that, my wife, my daughter, and hopefully my son does not, but it's looking like he's going to be into it as well. They're all into that, and so I'm like the Scrooge of Halloween. Like I don't want to be involved in none of that.
See, I love scary movies because people call me people call me a sociopath or like a psychopath or something because I laugh at them because they're funny to me. Like scary movies don't scare me, but it's like I watch it. They're so predictable. I'll watch a scary movie and just laugh through the whole thing. I'll be I'm the person in the theater in the scary movie whenever it's real quiet, and I'll scream for no reason to make everybody else scared. I'm that guy. Dude, I've done
Come
it
on,
so many
dog.
times, and it is so funny to me, bro. I just be sitting there, and people just be walking. It'd be real quiet, and I go and then everybody movie theater screen. It's so hilarious to me. I'm that guy. I love
You're
scary movies,
terrible.
but my daughter don't like them. My lady don't like them. Like so,
Yeah,
I don't. So I'm the only one that be wanting to watch scary movies. So
yeah,
I watch them
nah.
by myself.
Nah,
I can watch
I
them in the
don't
middle of
mess
the
with
night.
none of that. Halloween is like one of the worst times of the year for me, just because. And I'm not. I mean, I'm not a bitch or anything like that.
Nah, I get
Excuse
it.
my
I know.
language, but
Yeah.
I don't like scary movies, and I don't know. People get crazy around Halloween. Like it's nice. Well, I can't. I'm married, but whatever. It's nice to see some of the women dress up how they dress up for Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's looking
Mm-hmm.
like that's a everyday event now. They always dress
For
like that
sure. They
now.
always dress like that.
But
For sure.
but craziness goes on around Halloween too. Like you typically hear about the psychotic stuff type of events happening during
Yeah.
Halloween, like or a scare tactic going wrong, and
Something like that. Yeah.
something of the sort. So it's just I just don't really like this time of year.
Yeah, I can't I don't really mess with the Halloween now. And if you talk about fall, you talking about Thanksgiving, you get
Yeah,
around that time, spending time with family and the food, and then Christmas time, same thing, family, food, gifts. Then that's the time for people to come together. But Halloween, I could literally do without for sure.
yeah,
I could literally do
yeah,
without Halloween for sure,
yeah.
for sure.
So last week we talked about Dame being involved in a
Oh
trade
man.
with the Suns. And it turns out that
Mm-hmm.
he was involved with the trade with the Suns. However, he's not playing for the Phoenix Suns. He actually was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's going to team up with
Man,
Giannis Antetokounmpo. What you think about that, man? The NBA, like I said last week, they find a way to keep the drama high and keep you
I swear they
interested
do.
in the league. What you think about this trade?
Man, I think so. I mean, of course they had to give up a lot to get him, and
Mm-hmm.
it decimates their actual roster and their rotation to get somebody as high quality of a player as Dame Dollar. But it looked like they kept a lot of their core pieces together. Like they kept Brook Lopez, they kept Middleton. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they kept Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
And they get a player like Dame. So it's like, and Dame and Giannis, ironically enough, was about to ask out of Milwaukee earlier and you know what I'm saying, earlier
Yep.
in the summer. So it was like they brought in Dame, of course, to keep Giannis, but of course they had that second piece on that roster that's going to make it do what it do. So I
Right.
think it's going to be interesting to see how they reconstruct the roster around those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be fun to watch, man. It's going to be fun to watch. So I mean, but if Phoenix would have got him, oh my gosh, that that would have been a team of 5 players, and everybody else was coming from the G League. But it would have been fun to watch for sure. What you think about that trade?
I agree with you. Giannis was on his way to asking to be traded, or let go. Well, traded because he wanted to see that the team was still putting in the efforts to win a championship. And the same thing with Dame. Dame was asking for the same with Portland, and he wasn't seeing it. So for them to be put on the same team, and on paper everything looks good, like everybody says, Stephen A. Smith and all those individuals say it seems like a perfect fit, but they still have to go out and play. So to see them early in the season try to figure out how they gel together, and how the team is going to sort out the rest of the rotation, I think it's going to be interesting. Does it make them the best duo in the league? I mean, with Dame's range and Giannis's ability to get to the basket, so I think it does make them at least top 2
Top
duo in the
2
league.
duo. But who would be
Top
if they
2,
top
top
2?
3.
Who would be one if they're not one? Would you say
If they're
Murray and
not one,
Jokic?
yeah, I mean, because they just won a championship. You got to
Yeah,
knock them off the hill,
true,
dethrone them before you can say
true.
that you're the best duo. They proved that
That's
they
who
were
I
the
would put
best
in front
duo
of them.
last year.
Yeah.
So and then if anything, you could say the next best duo athletically could be Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Even
Or
though,
Jimmy
I mean,
Butler and Adebayo.
I don't think anybody would put them in
Athletically.
the top. Athletically, yeah, but as far
Yeah.
well, okay, I mean, and being productive also, yeah, they
Yeah.
did go to the finals last year,
Mm-hmm.
but during the year they were not
They weren't.
seen as
Yeah.
a highly rated, highly talented team. So I think, yeah, I mean they're top two, top three without a question. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
matter of what other duo is going to show up and play, and do their thing this year. But I think it's a good trade. It definitely adds another dynamic to the league. It definitely adds another championship caliber team, or you can expect high things from this team coming out. But we'll see how it goes. We were talking about the Jets like this a couple weeks ago, and
Weren't
then
we though? And then all of a
first
sudden,
series of the season, it
four
fell apart.
plays
Hopefully
in.
that doesn't happen. I'm
Yeah.
not putting that out there. So let me wipe that away. But
Knock on wood.
yeah, but yeah, it's definitely a good dynamic, and I think it's a good trade for all parties involved. Portland got DeAndre Aiden, and then they still have Scoop Henderson is his last name.
Mm-hmm. Scoop Henderson.
And,
Yep.
and then they have a couple of pieces, and then it was looking like the Suns were able to round out their rotation by pulling in Nurkic from Portland, and then they have Grayson Allen, who's a good 3-point shooter.
Which Nurkic is actually, to me, a better center than what Ayton was the past couple of years, to be honest, as far as
right,
productivity.
It's offensive productivity. His defense is lackluster, but
yeah,
but I mean, not to get too much into that, but yeah.
So yeah, but getting into, I don't know if you got any other small talk topics you wanted to talk about.
I do actually. I just want to catch up on stuff that we talked about in previous podcasts.
Okay.
So Mel Tucker was let go from Michigan State.
He was let go. I did see that.
And we discussed that last week on our podcast, and he's saying he is going to sue Michigan State for wrongful termination
and defamation.
And then also a couple of weeks ago, I think it was about a month ago now, we discussed Michael Orr, his conservatorship. Well, that has also been terminated, and the judge says she was disturbed that such an agreement was ever reached. In her 43-year career, she's never seen a conservatorship quite like this, or where someone was agreement was reached where the person was not disabled.
So did they say anything as far as the Michael Orr thing? Did they say anything as far as like any monetary gain that Michael Orr is going to gain from this?
As of right now, I did not see that.
Okay.
But I mean, I was going to say, obviously she hadn't heard about the Britney Spears situation in her conservatorship, because she was on the conservatorship for quite some time. But those were her actual biological parents that held her conservatorship.
Yeah.
And in that also, her mother is now saying like she's broke, she's a substitute teacher and all that stuff.
I saw that.
It's crazy. It's crazy
out here.
The tables turn.
It's crazy how they turn, man. So I'm guessing if the Michael Orr situation is anything like Britney Spears, he's going to possibly, I hope he does at least, especially since it's been going on for 2 decades now, that he gets some kind of monetary gain from the way that they used his name, image, and likeness to put together different nonprofit organizations, sell books, sell the movie. So hopefully he gets some kind of monetary gain out of this. Then they have to pay him something out of all of those millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, for sure. But Britney Spears has the right to all of her money now, which is great.
Right.
So hopefully Michael Orr gets his name back in.
Or is it? Yeah, Brittany. Oh, Brittany.
Oh, I see you, Brittany. I see you. Go ahead, watch the shit.
Guys be going
off about Brittany. He be going off about it. And I know everybody knows
for the community.
He got to be the funniest dude on the internet. I swear, bro. That dude is hilarious. He be going off about Britney Spears. Oh my God. That joke is so funny, bro. Oh my God, he's funny. Oh man. But now getting into the actual topics of the day, man. Meta is coming out with some more glasses, some AI, well, not necessarily AI based glasses, but they're coming out with some new smart glasses that can stream on Instagram. They already had RayBan has, but they've already had some glasses that have had cameras on them to where you can, do different things with and, record things and take pictures on. But now Meta is getting into the game with it. Now, D-Lo, how do you feel about these glasses that can stream? now with all this going on.
Yeah. So I mean, this, like you said, this is not the first iteration of this type of glass where Snapchat has had some as well.
Okay.
Google tried this. I think 2012, 2013 is when they first came out with their smart glasses, quote unquote. And then also, Meta had a pair, formerly Facebook, had a pair of streaming glasses that they had previous to the ones that they have now, which are called Meta or RayBan Meta smart glasses. So this is nothing new, but what I always say, privacy ain't private anymore.
No.
So and that's the major concern that's coming out, or the backlash that's come out. I guess controversy, not really backlash, controversy that has come out with these glasses is that people are fearful of what's being recorded with these glasses. My thing is, how is this any different from a person pulling out their smartphone and recording? I myself will not get these glasses anytime soon.
Yeah.
But, it is intriguing to have the ability to record and stream directly from your glasses to Instagram and Facebook. I don't post that much, but I'm sure that for a content creator, person that is constantly posting, this is intriguing to them because it gives them another touch point, another vantage point of what their day in the life for them looks like without them really having to try. They also have built-in headphones that allows them to listen to music and stuff like that. So,
which is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, and it's pretty, and that's cool, right? But the major controversy sparked when these were releases, and now everybody feels like their privacy is going to be invaded, which really, I mean, is really not right now. But people don't trust the government. People don't trust a lot of these big tech companies because they don't know what they're doing with the data. They don't know where the data is going, so on and so forth. So that's a cause for concern. How do you feel about this?
I feel kind of the same way you feel, as far as, of course, privacy not being private, free speech not being free, as we've been talking about for the longest on this podcast. But again, for somebody like a content creator, it gives them, like you said, a different viewpoint on them creating content. Now you can get an actual POV, so to speak, of what I'm saying? You can get an actual POV of what they actually see as they're going through this content that they're creating. I mean, I guess I can see where the people are coming from as far as saying, what's going to be recorded, privacy being invaded, the quote unquote, I didn't give you a right to record me, but it's
when you're
clear
out in public, you don't have to give consent.
Very true. And then, it's clear as day that you can see the cameras on the glasses. You can tell it's not it's not inconspicuous at all. Like, you can actually see the cameras on the glasses. So you'll know what kind of glasses people have on whenever they're wearing them. So if somebody does walk up on you and you see that, then you can ask, hey, are you recording right now, type thing. So it's not anything like that. So I don't think it's going to be too crazy as far as people privacy being invaded. But like you said, as far as, I'm not getting them anytime soon, but it could be, down the line, once we get monetized, once we start doing other types of content, this might be something that we can look into, possibly, to say, hey, we can start doing vlogs, or we can start doing this. When we start actually talking to people other than each other on the camera, maybe we can do something, in real life things. So, I mean, I think it's dope. They're not augmented reality yet, which they might be getting into. They're not like the Vision Pros or anything like that, because Apple already got those big fat moon goggles that people have been. And I haven't seen anybody with them yet, but I'm not interested. Me personally, I'm thinking AI gonna take over the world anyway, and you got a different viewpoint on that. We've been arguing about AI for the longest, but I mean, I think they're dope. It's just not anything that I'm interested in as far as right now in my point of life, or even the podcast point of life right now. But it could be something to look into later down the line, for sure. I think it's dope. I think they're dope. They look good.
Yeah, it's definitely dope. But also, along with these glasses, they also introduced the Quest 3s. So if you
true.
So I mean, they do have that type of augmented reality, those type of AR goggles, or they call them actually mixed reality because it takes what you actually see in front of you and then brings in their augmented reality. So it's called mixed reality. So they do or will be releasing those as well. And I originally was coming into this segment saying that I was wrong about, you know, us being a long way off from going from those big goggles that we see for the mixed reality and not really being able to use any of them quite like how, you know, the glasses I have on my face. And then this came out, so I was like, oh man, it moved a lot faster than I
Move a
thought.
lot
But
faster than you thought. Yeah.
in reality, I was correct. I think we still have a little bit of time before we'll see that. The processors have to get way smaller than what they are. The chips have to get we have to make chips first and
First of all,
foremost in order for it to go. You know, we're having a little bit of issues with a chip shortage and Taiwan being held hostage and
all of
long
these
story.
things. Long
Story
story
for
yep.
another day. But
there you go.
but yeah, so we still have a ways to go, but it looks like, you know, the technology with wearables, you know, watches, glasses, AirPods, or, you know, headphones, stuff like that, it is starting to pick up in advance. And so, you know, I'll take the time, I'll reduce the time that I originally thought that it would take for us to get from the big Oculus goggles or
the
Vision Pros,
Quest or the Vision Pros,
and then come to the glasses that we see on a daily basis and have mixed reality. I'll reduce that time.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it would be a lot more. I think it'd be a lot better if we do get them into this kind of size and different styles and different things like that, to where they don't look so huge on people's faces. They're not ginormous, but I think we are still a little ways away, because we still got to fix things in the world before we can even think about any technology, to be perfectly honest with you. So, but I think it's a good move forward. As far as technology is concerned, the advancement of technology, I just can't. I don't see too many people other than content creators using these. But I think with the way content creation is going, this is who it's geared towards anyway. Because, you know, people like us, which we can call ourselves content creators at this point. People like us is somebody who would use this to, you know, and to create content and to bring people into, you know, our world, and to say, hey, you should check us out because we're doing good things out here. So I mean, I think it would be something that that content creators would use, but people on an everyday basis, unless it does come into the mixed reality or augmented reality world, I don't see too many normal everyday people using these, to be honest.
But the last question I'll have though is kind of to rebuttal or get us to dive a little bit deeper into the last statement that you made, is you don't think it is tailored toward anybody but content creators. Do you think with the way that the world is going, with everybody trying to, at least attempting to be some type of content creator, do you think this lets them, you know, dip their toe a bit more into the waters of content creation?
I think so. If for people who want to do in real life content, yes. Not sit behind the camera like us. It doesn't have
to be in real life, I don't think.
I mean, so it would be technically, well, not. I see what you're going with it, because we could, if we were in the same space, we could get each other's viewpoint and still put it in a segment like this, right? In the way we do our podcast, but. Yeah. I don't know. I think it does give people an outlet to, you know, kind of dip into it a little bit to kind of see how it goes. I think this is so. Not even that, because like I just said, you can use it for a podcast. I don't know. I think it does give people a good way to get into it. But I think it is more. I still do think it is more geared towards people who are already content creators, and it gives them another way to create. I want to say better content. Or further their content a little bit more, because I mean, depending on how much these things cost, the everyday person couldn't even afford them. So
$2.99. So it's
they're actually very affordable. Yeah, that's true.
Good price point.
I didn't see the amount. That's what's up. That's not bad at all, actually. Yeah.
Right. So I mean,
Of course, well, I'm thinking about the Vision Pros. That's like $4,000. Ain't nobody
Well, yeah,
really going for
but
those,
it's not
but it's
augmented
not augmented
reality.
reality too. So yeah, so I
Yeah,
can see what you mean by that. I can see what you mean by that. I think it could be something that people could dip their toe in and say, hey, I'm going to use these glasses to make. I'm going to be the first to use these glasses to create
right,
content.
right. Because
Yeah.
it's not about just the videos. You can take pictures, and it's not always people don't always post pictures of with them included in it. They do post pictures of stuff that they see from their phones, where
True.
they're not included in the video. So I feel like, again, it's not for me. I don't post that much on social media other
Neither do
than
I. Yeah.
what we do. So as of right now anyway, so it's not really tailored to me. But for those individuals that do take a lot of pictures and maybe even post them onto social media, it could be something that they would be intrigued by.
I think so too. That's a good point. That's definitely a good point.
All right, so on his Twitch stream, DJ Akademiks discusses the hip hop industry and why its music is in the current state. He claims the reason music has gotten to the point of watered down TikTok, let's dance it all up, is because the people we support at the top of the genre went ghost. He also says there's no motivation to work and there's no motivation for them to rap. How do you feel, Sticks, about DJ Akademiks' comments about the current state of hip hop being watered down? And really, he was calling out Kendrick. How do you feel about that?
I feel like some of what he's saying has some validity to it. Only because now we're in the day and age of, if you're not streaming, if your music isn't streaming or popping on social media, or you're not doing shows, you're not making money. So people like Kendrick, the Kendricks of the world, or the Coles of the world, or the Drakes of the world, once they create the album that they're gonna create that everybody's gonna listen to, and it gets the stream that they want, they do the shows that they do, everybody's putting it on their TikTok song, everybody putting it on their TikTok posts, everybody's putting it on their Instagram reels. Once they make that bread, what else do they got to do? You know what I'm saying? And I understand what he's saying by that is because it's the right now, the state of hip hop right now is being taken over by all the female rappers, bro. You got your Glorillaz out there, you got your Sexy Reds out there, you got your Suki Hanas, you got your Nicki Minaj's, your Cardi B's. That's who you hear most of the time nowadays. Other than, people like what's the boy we were talking about the
Cole
other
and
day?
Yachty just dropped last night. Cole
Cole
put out a
Yachty,
classic.
Nah,
put out a classic verse.
I ain't gonna lie, it was fire. It was fire. I ain't gonna lie, he put a classic verse out there. And people say he's subbing old boy too. He's subbing young boy, but they say he's subbing young boy. But that's neither here nor there. But
Yeah.
but female rappers are ruling the game right now. Kendrick ain't put out an album in like a couple of years now. And that album itself was kind of, to me, it was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Cole ain't put nothing out in a minute. Drake is about to drop an album apparently in the next coming up in November, next month or November. We really ain't heard from the big rappers in the game here recently, and it's just it. Another thing that he said also too is that the pioneers of the game didn't help the new school with a lot of things too. He called the pioneers of the game dusty, and you had LL Cool J coming at his neck. You also had MC Lyte coming at his neck too.
Was that in the same stream?
I think it was a stream afterwards. I think it was another stream from there. But it may have been because he streams for hours and hours and hours, so he could have said something. He could, but I don't follow DJ Akademiks as much as I used to. I follow him a lot when they were talking about Tory Lanez, but here recently I kind of fell off of his stuff, and I didn't really follow him much in the first place because he's a weird cat, to be honest. But I kind of see what he's saying though, because but I don't think it's in a weird place with the big names. I just think it's shifting to a more provocative rap. What you think?
So in terms of what the little snippet that I pulled out about what he said, I can understand how he feels, and I understand why fans would agree with him. However, I have a different view on this. I think, like, isn't this what we're supposed to do in life? Aren't we supposed to, get into a career, whether we love it or not, make as much money as we can, and then fall back to spend the time that we want to spend where we want to spend it.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, so basically what he is saying is that hip hop is at the state that it's in because the people that we put all our money into, they got rich off of making good music, or at least music that catches the ear enough for them to make the money that they've made. They've gotten satisfied and they fell off. What's wrong with that? That's to me, that's selfish. That's us as fans being selfish because we want our the people that we hold dear, we want them to continually work for us. That's not why they got in the game. They got in the game. Hopefully they got into the game because they loved it. Even if they didn't get into the game because they love it, they got into it strictly for the money. They did what they wanted to do. They achieved what they wanted to achieve, and then they got out.
Yeah,
nobody says anything about Waka Flocka, who admitted after he left, he admitted, I only got into this game to make $30 million. I got that money. I got out. I'm doing other stuff. True. Nobody says anything about that.
True. Nobody says anything
it's not always up to our ancestors or the people that come before us to keep us afloat. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they can lay the blueprint. They can teach us the blueprint here and there. But to constantly come back and say, all right, I told you this. Now you need to do this. No, you got to take the game that they give you and innovate it and become, make it something different. And if it's not what the fans like, then the people that are actually hungry and still want it, they're the ones that have to figure out what it is the fans need and what they're looking for and give it to them. And every once in a while, if the old heads want to come out, or if the people that we consider current and top tier artists want to come back and give us something here and there, some nostalgic music, let them do that. But I feel like we are dinging people, successful individuals, for leaving us on red, essentially, because they made it. I don't think that's right.
I don't think it's right either. I mean, I think he just has such a strong opinion about this because he is quote unquote a DJ, not just really a streamer and he just does his own thing now, but he is a DJ. So their work is his work. So if there's no real good music out there, according to him, then he doesn't have anything to spend. But he just all he got to do is figure out what's hot, what people are listening to, like the Sexy Reds of the world, and just spend that, regardless if you like it or not. Just like you just said, regardless if you like the music or not, this is how you're gonna make your money. So spend those records. You know what I'm saying? But but that goes back to the whole thing about remember it was an episode that we did where one of the comments that we made is that entertainment is more important than education, and why entertainers get paid so much more than artists. I mean, than educators do, than teachers do.
Right.
It's to me, it's that, because it's like, that comes into it, because now we got a millionaire, talking about what other millionaires aren't doing, but it just don't make sense to me that why he's calling people out and why he's talking about the pioneers of Dusty and Kendrick can't put out no music and the state of the hip hop game is going down, when it's really honestly not. To be perfectly honest with you, hip hop is still up. It's just, I just think it's shifting. It's shifting a lot. A lot of these women artists are just honestly taking over, and you got a lot of the male artists moving into different directions too. You see Drake doing a lot of more feminine things now too, trying to appeal to a different audience. And of course we got our boy J. Cole just sticking to his true self, of course. But Kendrick ain't put out no music in a minute. But it's just weird. But he always has some kind of heavy opinion about a lot of things anyway. And that's kind of what makes him a good streamer, is that he has such hot and viral takes that get the attention, and he's able to draw the attention of somebody like an MC, or somebody like a LL Cool J, because he has these strong takes and these strong opinions about things. And that's why he's making more money streaming it. He's making DJing. He don't even DJ as much no more. He's seen on podcasts a lot. He's seen doing his own thing on his streams. But I just don't think it's that, bro. I just think it's shifting. I think hip hop is still up. He just wants to hear. I understand he wanting to hear better music because the music that's out right now ain't really that tough.
It's not really lyrical.
Yeah, it's not really lyrical. It's about what's going to get viral, what's going to be hot on your TikTok posts or your reels, or what's going to be, what's going to make the people, what's going to make the people sing to your song. And it's about a dance here or a lyric there or a hook here, but it's not really lyrical no more. It's not what we grew up listening to.
Right,
but
that's not the artist's fault, though. That's not the artist that that's not the artist that he mentioned specifically. It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
They're not the ones that really partake in that type of music. But it could be not only the fact that what I mentioned earlier, that they got the money that they wanted, or they've reached the success, the plateau that they wanted to reach. Now they just want to fall back a little bit. It could be that they're so angry, or what's the word I'm looking for here? They're so. I don't know the word I want to say. You always start talking and you know the words you want to say, and then it just doesn't come out.
Right.
But they could be so frustrated. I don't know why I couldn't say think of frustrated. They are frustrated with the fact that the music that they want to make isn't what is getting the clicks. Like, I mean, Akademiks does have a very good point. The current state that we are in is, we want to get a little soundbite so that people can add it to their reels on on Instagram, or add it to their stories or TikTok posts, or whatever the case is. That's what we're looking for, or we're looking for a type of song where one of these influencers can make a dance to it. And that's not really the type of music that your Kendricks, your Coles,
or your Drakes, they don't make that kind of music. Yeah.
Well, Drake, we can't say Drake.
Yeah, we can't say Drake, because Drake
had a few songs that,
yeah, true.
Drake's had a few songs that has become TikTok classics, or somebody's made a dance to. So we can't include Drake, even though Drake does make, he is, I would consider him to be, he's multifaceted. I mean,
that was the word I was just about to say, multifaceted.
He has his songs where he can get lyrical, and then he has his TikTokish, soundbite type songs. You know what I mean?
Slide.
So
head ass.
But I mean, it could be just that frustration, and which is why Kendrick is a part of the quality not quantity group, and Cole is in that same mode. He was working heavily, putting out albums every other year when he first came out, and he's kind of fallen off as far as the albums have come. But he's
doing features like crazy,
a bunch of features here lately, and killing them. I mean, I think his take is not a fair assessment of,
I don't think so either,
those Kendricks, those type of individuals, because we're complex individuals, man. We have many different ways that we can feel about a situation. And if you just, again, we forget that these people are human. So if you take the fact that they're musicians, they're rap artists, and put them in a regular 9-to-5 and say, oh, this man got rich and he don't do anything anymore, and I'm mad at that, people will look at you like you stupid,
like you dumb.
So so I mean, I don't know, maybe my assessment of his assessment isn't fair to him, but I feel like the take, it was not a fair one, because of, you can't blame these individuals for the reason that hip hop is in the state that it's in, is because these individuals don't make music in the fashion that the artists that we grew up listening to made, or frequency they used to make it. I mean, he's not the only one. Joe Budden says it also. He feels like artists as a whole, not just hip hop artists, but R&B artists as well, don't put out music as frequently as they used to.
And I mean, excuse me. And I mean too, but and even in that same sense, whenever these artists that he mentioned, the Kendricks, the Coles, the Drakes, whenever they do drop, the downloads, the listens are heavy. So, and everybody's bumping it in their cars, everybody's putting it on their TikToks, everybody's putting it on their social media. The music that whenever they do drop, whether it's 2, 3, 4 years down the line, they're always going to get those downloads regardless. And whenever
Right.
when they do concerts, like Drake is on the tour right now, Drake's concerts are selling out. So what else do you want these guys to do? Like they're putting out music. Once they drop that album, they got to go on tour to make the money from the album, because you don't buy CDs no more. So you got to go on tour, which is going to be a year or so that they're going to go on tour. However many months they're going to do it, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. And then they're going to take a break, maybe for a year. Then they might drop another album. Because the way of the game now, whenever you making music, is totally different than it was whenever the LL Cool J's, the MC Lights, even Jay-Z when he first started. The age of the game now is totally different from the way it was back in the day. Because you can get somebody, so you can have people dropping, just like DMX dropped 2 albums in a year. Nobody's doing that no more because you don't buy CDs no more. So
you also, my fault. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was about done anyway.
You also don't have a lot of these artists under contract with these major labels. They're more independent now. So when you're under contract with these major labels, they require you to put out this amount of albums. So in order to get to that point to where you can renegotiate your contract with them, or even potentially get out of your contract, a la Frank Ocean put out a bullshit album, and then the next day, to get out of his contract, and then the next day he put out the real album under himself. That's probably what it is. Like, a lot of these artists that we consider top tier are no longer under these contracts that they were required to put out these type of a certain number of albums, and now they can just do what they want to. They can put out an album, like you mentioned, go on tour for half the year, a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be, rake in all that money from the tour, from the merchandise sales. All right, I'm good.
Sit back and relax.
Money starts to run out, relax, whatever the case is. Let me go back, create another album. Because streams aren't really, you got to get 1 billion streams to even get $1,000 or something like that. I mean, I don't know the actual numbers, but I know it's astronomical, the amount of streams you have to get in order to make a good portion of money. So, I mean, it's just like you said, the game is different. It's not about the contracts anymore. A lot of these artists are quasi-independent to where they can make more decisions about how they put out their music and what they do with their music, rather than the label making the decisions for them. So I just feel like, to put this on the label, put this on the rapper and not the label, to me is not a fair assessment. That's the last time I'll say it's not a fair assessment too.
Yeah. And you mentioned Frank Ocean dropping a BS album and dropping a real joint, which was a banger, by the way, the next day. And we got to mention the late great Nipsey Hussle too, being independent his whole career, owning everything from the publishing to all the rights to his music, fully integrated. So you gotta understand that he just gotta understand it's different, and music ain't the same as it was before, man. Yep. But moving on to the next topic, man. So Chad OchoCinco has been doing a late night talk show called The Nightcap with our boy Uncle Shannon Sharp. And he did mention something about him getting married, you know what I'm saying? Here coming up soon, and how he refuses to sign a prenup after his fiance asks him to sign one. D-Lo, how do you feel about the situation that Chad OchoCinco is going through, brother?
I ain't mad at Ocho. I mean, I can see why women would be mad at Ocho, especially with the type of career that he had, type of money that he made back in the day. Why wouldn't he sign a prenup when his fiance has this empire that she's building called Allure Realty down in Tampa or in the Florida area? We have a high school classmate that we know that's a part of that here 100%. In the Carolina regions. So, I'm not mad at Ocho, because all he's doing is he's flipping the narrative that a lot of women use when the man is the one that's currently making the amount of money that we assume that his fiance is making.
Right.
and the wife is home taking care of the kids or doing the things that need to be done around the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at him. Now, as a man, would I sign a prenuptial agreement? I probably would, and the reason I would is because the prenuptial agreement isn't the negative connotation that a lot of people think it is.
That's what I was going to say, but go ahead, finish up.
Everybody has a negative connotation of what the prenuptial agreement actually is. In reality, the prenuptial agreement is saying I'm taking the decisions of what happens with our assets out of the court's hands, and I'm saying before we get married, if we get to this point of where we want to divorce,
Separate. Yep.
if we want to separate, this is what's going to happen with the assets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where the negative connotation probably came in or probably had got to this point is some woman back in the day, or maybe man, I don't know, we don't know how it is, probably got severely screwed with a prenuptial agreement. And now everybody, no, don't you ever sign a prenuptial agreement. But I mean, some of our favorite people have prenuptial agreements. Jay-Z has a prenuptial agreement with Beyonce. She gets I think $5 million for every year that they are married. After 10 years, they've already been married 10 years. So, I mean, but if they were allowed to let the courts decide, I mean, I know she makes a lot of money, but she could get half of what he has because I'm sure his worth is more than hers. Yeah. All the stuff that he's involved with. But, I'm not mad at Ocho. I'm not mad at him at all. I wouldn't sign it either as of right now if I were him.
True. And I'm not mad at Ocho either. And just like you said, man, just going back to the negative connotation of prenuptial agreements. If you really think about it, bro, especially with somebody in a situation like this, and not everybody is in this type of situation, you know what I'm saying? But because he has a high net worth, so does she. So not everybody is in that. Not everybody is in that class where they can say both spouses have a very, very high net worth. Most people are just average people, probably making around 50, 60,000 a year and bringing in as a household about 100 to 150,000 a year together. So understandable. But the negative connotation around prenuptial agreements is kind of crazy to me because if you think about it, it protects both people. It's saying that
it's supposed to.
And it's saying that whatever you came in with, you take with you. Whatever I came in with, I take with me. If we build something together, we figure that out at the time. That's how I look at prenuptial agreements.
Right.
With in his situation, I mean, I don't plan on when I get married, I don't plan on divorcing. So I don't believe a prenuptial agreement is necessary, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's nothing that can't be worked out through communication, just talking things out and just not getting to a point where it's toxic, to be perfectly honest. So anything can be worked out, anything can be talked about, as long as it's not anything violent, any, betrayal, anything of that nature, any disloyalty, anything can be worked out. But it's not a prenuptial agreement is not a bad thing. It had to be somebody, husband or wife, that got completely screwed, as D-Lo said, that says, you know what, prenuptials ain't right. Like, you know what I'm saying? I came into this thing with nothing. He or she came into this thing with nothing. And I was a multi-millionaire. Now every single year I got to give her $10 million, and she ain't had nothing before she got with me, or the same, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? He ain't had nothing whenever he got with me. It had to be somebody that has been completely screwed, that had this thing to have such a negative connotation that it has. But just before you even sign the prenuptial agreement, you have to speak about what that agreement entails anyway, as a couple. Now, he said that she just brought him papers and was like, hey, sign this prenup. And he was like, I ain't signing it. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with it in that sense, because you do have the option to talk about it as a couple or what's going into this prenup. But and for her to kind of just bring it to him like, hey, this is a prenuptial agreement, I want you to sign this before we get married. I'm like, I'd be like, what you handing me this for? You know what I'm saying? Right. And the same, just like, say our boy, Steven Jackson with his whole situation with the prenuptial agreement, he was trying to get her to sign it all the way up until the day of the marriage, the day of the wedding. And she didn't. And she tried to He called it off because this was right whenever he signed his first major contract in the NBA, and he was trying to protect his assets because even though he was in love with her, he knows how things can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a bad thing. Would I sign one? I don't think it's necessary with the thought process I have, but it's a prenup is not always bad. We got to find a way to change the narrative around this because it's not always bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at Ocho. Is he being petty?
Probably so, because he a petty individual in the first place.
That's just Ocho, you know what I mean? So, like I said, if you know a little bit about Ocho, he's severely cheap.
Severely cheap.
He mentions how he doesn't want to spend any money, how his first year in the league, he spent more than half the year living in the locker room. He didn't even own an apartment. He used to drive a smart car, which is like
the smallest, probably as big as this desk. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, right. It's very small. He used to have one of those. He used to go to Claire's to buy jewelry because he knew people would automatically assume
that it's real.
What he had was real and cost tons of money. He eats at McDonald's on the
dollar menu all the time.
All the time. So we know he's severely cheap. And I say all that to say is he still more than likely has a large portion of his NFL contracts from when he was playing. And he was making pretty good money as a receiver from back then.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure he figured out a way to invest it quite well, and that money is making him money continuously. So is he being petty? More than likely he is. But for me, the reason I say I'm not mad is because it's flipping the narrative on his head that women, and I'm not being misogynistic. I'm trying not to be anyway.
Yeah, of course.
That women always play is why is this person worried about divorce? And and we ain't even got married yet. Why are they thinking about the end before we even get started? This situation is no different. It's kind of like tit for tat. So yeah, he's probably being petty, but in reality, I'm sure they'll work something out to where it's something in the prenuptial agreement that benefits both of them. Because she's trying to protect her Allure Realty empire. And, he's trying to make sure that he's taken care of when if it doesn't work out,
which we hope it doesn't end, because
Absolutely.
they have a very beautiful relationship, and it's I love watching them on Instagram when he does post, and it's a very, very beautiful relationship. And he did make mentions of she built the empire and she gave him the opportunity to just stay home, be a housewife, as he said, but he gave just to be a stay-at-home dad, play video games, take care of the kids. She allowed him that, and she worked very, very hard for her empire. So I can understand why she wants to protect it. But he could come back and say the same thing, because a lot of his net worth could be hers if at any point that they do separate or they do divorce. So he could have flipped it on his head too. Oh, you want to give me papers? I can give you papers too. Just to go. And I know it's tit for tat and it don't make no sense. It is petty, but I don't see. Even if they did divorce, I don't see Chad Johnson taking any of that. As petty as he is and as silly as he is a very understanding person. You know what I'm saying? Chad Johnson at one point, I'm a little biased in the situation. I'm going to be honest with y'all, because Chad Johnson at one point was my favorite player in the NFL at one point.
Right.
But it is, but to D-Lo's point, it is flipping the situation on its head, because a lot of the stories that you do hear is about a man asking a woman to sign a prenup, but at this in this situation is a little bit different, and the man that's being asked to sign the prenup has a higher net worth than the woman that's asking him to sign it, but he is just being a house husband. He's being a stay-at-home dad. She's the one going out and making them. Yeah, he's going out. She's the one that's going out making the money, building the empire, which is what you normally hear the man doing, and having a housewife. So it's an interesting situation. I understand what Chad Johnson is saying, what OchoCinco is saying, but just find a way to get this negative connotation of prenuptial agreements out, because it's not as bad as people make it seem, for sure.
Right. Right.
For sure.
So Travis Kelce has been shooting his shot at Taylor Swift for about 2 months now, on either on his podcast, in social media posts, whatever the case is. And it finally looks like the shots are starting to swish.
They
Taylor
starting
broke
to
the
swish,
internet.
bro.
Taylor broke the internet and television as she attended the Chiefs game last week, as it appears that Kelce and Swift are, in fact, if they're not dating, they're in the beginning phases
Pretty
of what
close
could
to it. Yep.
become a relationship. And in the short span of time, many things have come out: speculation, hate, divisiveness, you name it, it's all come out. Sticks, how do you feel about this whole Kelce and Swift situation?
Now it's funny to me, man, because the Swifties are going crazy on social media. The Swifties are going super crazy on social media. I'm gonna get to that here in a second, but it's nice whenever you see some of the star athletes and some of the star artists coming together as one, man. I think it's pretty dope. But that the Taylor Swift effect is going crazy with Chiefs ticket sales, Travis Kelce spiking jersey sales, where it's up 400% right now from before they even started talking. Like the Swifties are going crazy. And I've seen so many different posts on social media about how, of course, there's a large population of women who don't know much about football. So you'll see like women who are Swifties trolling their husbands about how she's putting him on the map, where he literally was already on the map way prior to him meeting Taylor Swift, like a 2-time Super Bowl winner, one of if not the best tight ends in the league, like multi-Pro Bowler, really ever, to be honest, ever, the best tight end ever in the game. He's a future Hall of Famer,
easily.
Future Hall of Famer, easily future Hall of Famer. And it's just funny to see how the men react to some of these posts that women are putting on social media. But they've been seen, like you said, like D'Lo said, she was seen in the box, with his mom at the Chiefs game here recently. They were seen walking out of the tunnel hand in hand. So if they're not in a relationship, it's pretty damn close. But I think it's dope, man. I think it's really, really dope that they got together and his shots are starting. He's starting to Steph Curry them joints. They're starting to go in, because I think it'll be dope. I think a lot of the backlash is that it's coming from our community, because prior to him being in a relationship with Taylor Swift, he was with a very, very beautiful young black lady. And
that wasn't the only one.
Because they were calling Travis Kelce white chocolate at one point, because he was like he was popping.
Yeah,
he was popping.
He has an extensive history of dating sisters.
Yeah, so it's like and now the people are, our community, our women, and some of our women are calling it a downgrade, because where he came from and what he's at now. And Taylor Swift is a beautiful young lady, in her own right. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, not even in her own right. She's a beautiful young lady, and it could be
opinion.
Yeah. It could be a match made in heaven. You know what I'm saying? And this might be what he actually prefers. Now, who knows what he prefers, because he does have a list of sisters that he's dated, but he's just shooting a shot and he's starting to make it. So we can't hate on this man for getting the woman that he wants, just because it ain't the type that he's had in the past, or it's not what you think he should have. Let this man do his thing. Let them be happy. We take so much stock in other people's lives, especially on social media, especially celebrities' lives, that it starts to get redundant at some point. Like, just mind your business. How about that? Just mind your business. Let these people be happy, man. What you think about this whole situation with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
I just think it's a big deal, because Taylor Swift and the buying power that her fans bring with them.
Ain't it crazy?
So like to us sports fans, like you mentioned, we know who Travis Kelce is. It's not a big deal that him and Taylor Swift are dating, or said to be in some type of relationship. It's not the first time that a football player or athlete, let alone a football player, has been with a top tier entertainer. But I mean, in this respect, Taylor Swift is like the top of the top tier entertainer. Yeah. Like she's up there with the Beyoncés of the world. And so and with that comes a lot of power. And so, like you mentioned in your portion, jersey sales have gone up for Travis Kelce 400%. His jersey is the top selling jersey right now in the NFL online shop. It's also $50 more than any other player's jersey right now. So it's
It's
$179.
crazy.
Every other player's is $129 for the same type of jersey. That's the NFL taking advantage of this spike.
Yep.
The viewership for the game last week spiked, I think 88%. I'm sorry, it spiked 8% than what it when she was shown on TV, and the actual women's viewership from the ages of 18 to 49 spiked 67%.
Sheesh.
That is power.
Power.
That is buying power. That is the Swifties going crazy and getting involved in everything that Taylor does. I hope for Travis Kelce's sake, he has put up all these shots, and he did. He's starting to make them. He put a lot of time in the gym. I hope for his sake it doesn't end badly, because the Swifties are
Relentless.
they can be just like the beehive. They can
I
swarm
swear.
and sting all over the place. So I hope for his sake that he doesn't do anything crazy, or the relationship doesn't end badly. But this to me is strictly about the power of the Swifties and the money that they bring with them when they are supporting Taylor Swift. And so the NFL is definitely taking advantage of it. As far as the controversy is concerned, how I'm trying to find I've been trying to find a correct way to say this. I don't think it is a correct way to say this.
Probably
How
not.
can we be mad at a white man for dating a white woman? Really, how can we be mad at anybody for dating anybody that they choose to date? But in
For sure.
reality, how can we be mad at a white man for dating a white woman? We all know that when you date a certain person, whether they're white, black, blue, brown, green, whatever the case is, they come with a certain culture.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, while he was dating these black women, he reflected their culture. He, like you said, he was being called white chocolate at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
All of the, not all, but black women were finding him more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's no longer dating black women, and he's starting to jump back to the white side, his look is different.
It
I mean,
is
he
very
still
much
has a
so.
little hip hop edge to him,
Still
but
got a little
as far as
swag to
how
him,
he
yeah.
wear his, as far as how he wears his facial hair and all that, that does not look. You don't see too many brothers with their facial hair like that. And he does
But he
look
got
like a
a
state trooper.
but he got his porn star.
Yeah, he does. He does have a state trooper look. But why are we upset with him? Because at the time he's gone from two. I only know of two, but I know he dated probably more than that, more than two black women in the past. Why are we going? Why are we upset that he's gone from these two beautiful women to Taylor Swift?
I don't
The
understand it either,
divisiveness
bro.
continues to go. We continue to find ways to divide us as people in this country, and it's really sickening.
It is. It very much is, man, and it's even worse whenever you try to divide man and woman. Like it just don't. It just whenever we're supposed to be the ones that are supposed to come together and be as one, men and women, and or whatever your whatever you decide that you want to partake in. But why are we so divisive? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just like it blows me away, the divisiveness that we have in this community. But another question I wanted to ask you too, we see the Swifties going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this same power will be held by the Beehive? Like, do you think if Beyonce wasn't married and she was to date somebody in the NFL, do you think this same buzz would be happening?
Absolutely.
Or would it be a heavier buzz because it's Beyonce?
I think there are. I don't know the percentages, so I don't want to assume.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes. I assume that it would be the same type of effect going on in the NFL or whatever area Beyonce was involved in if she was not married and something like this was going on. because like I said, the Beehive, they follow the queen bee wherever she goes,
Mm-hmm.
whatever she's involved in, they at least try to get in. I know Ivy Park with Adidas didn't
Adidas.
quite work out
Mm-hmm.
because it was a bit pricey, and you couldn't really get your hands on a lot of it. It wasn't easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else that she's involved in, they will make sure that they show up and show out. And the same thing with the Swifties. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there are more Swifties than Beehive. I don't know that to be fact though, so that's why I stopped saying that
Mm-hmm.
earlier. But it definitely, Beyonce is definitely a needle mover,
100%.
just like Taylor Swift is a needle mover. So
I think it would be just as the buzz would be just as big. We had conversations on this podcast about people, spending $10,000 on tickets, people spending $40K on tickets, people taking heart surgery money for these tickets for Beyonce. It could be, it could be, all false, but who knows? But we've
right.
heard these stories about people trying to get to this Beyonce concert and the extent that they would go to get it. So, I can only assume that the Beehive would show up and show out if this was Beyonce in the situation. So it's just funny how entertainment is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment is so powerful. Just like I said in the past segment, entertainment in the world is more important than education, and it's clear as day that it is. And it's just so powerful, man. The Swifties are powerful. The Beehive is powerful. Travis Kelce is powerful. And entertainment is so powerful, man. So we have to see
Those
how
that control the media control the mind.
Title.
Nah, not the title. The title is what you said.
What's that?
The buzz is something. The buzz is something.
We'll have to listen back and see it. But
yeah. That's not the title. Yeah.
Those who control the media control the mind. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. But yeah, I think hopefully they work out. Hopefully everything with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce goes well, and we see them prosper well into the future. And hopefully the Taylor Swift effect keeps going, and the Swifties keep showing up and showing out for the boy, because he making some money off the Swifties.
100%.
Yeah, 400%.
It's all 400%. Economical at this point. Yeah, 400% for sure. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's all economical in all facets at this point.
All facets, G. It's crazy. So getting into the next topic, man, we had Steph Curry on a podcast here recently, and he was asked the question if he thought that he was the best point guard in the league. And he paid homage to some former point guards, your John Stockton's of the world, your Magic Johnsons of the world, your Chris Pauls of the world. But he ultimately said that he was the best point guard ever to ever walk this earth in the NBA. So Magic Johnson had to come out and, make a couple of statements, and, he kind of defended his own honor. D-Lo, how do you feel about Steph Curry saying that he's the best point guard, and what do you think about what Magic Johnson said in response to Steph?
So as far as what Steph said, what else is he supposed to say?
Exactly. But go ahead.
I mean,
like for real.
I know for a fact that I'm not the best at what I do. But if anybody asked me in some type of format where I'm talking about myself, even though I'm not a braggadocious type person, I'm going to say I consider myself one of the best, if not the best, because XYZ. What else is he supposed to say? Like we try to make, for the most part, we love when our athletes are very arrogant. And
unless they're women, apparently, but go ahead.
Unless they're women, right? But we like when they're that way, because it seems to spark a mentality that most of us actually don't have, that we want to have, and it makes us see them in a different light. But what else is he supposed to? So in that regard, what else is he supposed to say? In Magic's response, I hate that the fact that we always put, or it seems like anyway, in the last few years, we always put our greats of the past against the greats of the present.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous to me. At the end of the day, just as Magic said, it's really a matter of opinion because, the numbers for who actually is a great really speak for themselves. But we pick and choose what the numbers actually mean to us. Because if we were talking about numbers of who is the greatest of all time, just basketball in general, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if I recall, before last year was the all-time leading scorer in basketball. He had 5 or 6 NBA championships, 5 MVPs. That's the greatest basketball player of all time. But we want to say Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant are the best players when,
In their
LeBron just passed in their
Mm-hmm.
own right? LeBron just passed Kareem in points. He's top 5 in assists, top 10 in rebounds, 4 NBA championships, 4 MVPs. But everybody's, the masses will say Michael Jordan is the best because he's undefeated in the championship, top 3. I say all that to say if we're being honest, the numbers should speak for themselves of who is the greatest, but it's really all a matter of opinion. And anybody can make any type of argument that they want to make of who's the greatest because of XYZ. And so Magic said, what did Magic say? Magic said, he said, so if he has more than 5 championships, if he has more than 3 finals MVPs, more than 3 league MVPs, then yeah, he's the greatest. If he has more than if he's more than number 1 in assists all time in the finals, if he's more than number 2 all time in double doubles and number 1 in triple doubles all time in NBA playoffs, number 4 in steals at all time in the playoffs, if he has more than that, then yeah, he's the best of all time. So again, Magic is giving you the numbers, the actual hard facts of why he is better than Steph Curry. But somebody will say Steph is the best because of what he did to the game of basketball with the 3-pointers.
Yep.
So we pick and choose what we want to use as a filter for who's the best of all time in whatever, it's just basketball in general or in the position. What else is Steph supposed to say? I hate the fact that we are always putting our greats against each other from different eras.
100%, man. And just like you said, man, what is Steph supposed to say? Because he has had an influence on the game. He has changed the game tremendously because now the 3-point shot is the best shot in the game of basketball analytically. And the way that he shoots it is outstanding and phenomenal. And he does have the championships. He does have the MVPs, a unanimous MVP. He has the accolades to do that, to say that he is the best. And he is one of the greatest players to ever play basketball. So if he's asked that question, just like D'Lo said, if I'm asked that question, and I'm just like D'Lo said, I'm a very humble guy in my own right too. But I'm going to say that. I'm going to say the same thing Steph said. I'm going to give props to the greats, and I'm going to say, but yeah, of course I'm the greatest to ever do it. If not I'm one of. I'm in the conversation. So right. What else is he supposed to do? And one thing and to get to Magic Johnson, the one thing that I do respect about Magic is that the stats that he gave were individual stats. Individual stats. His numbers as far as playoff double doubles, triple doubles, assists, steals, individual MVPs. Even though he did say championships, but everybody's going to put those in there. But he gave individual stats because they said best point guard of all time. So he gave his individual stats. He didn't say many things. He only said one thing that was a team award, which was the championships. But everything else was an individual stat. And that's one thing that goes into a lot of these GOAT debates is that it's a lot of team things that people talk about, especially whenever they talk about, and we always find a way to get him in there every single episode. But we are there between the GOAT debate between LeBron and Jordan, they always talk about a lot of the debate is team awards. A lot of debate is team records in the finals. That he not playing 5-on-1, but it's like you have to understand, and you have to understand that D'Lo hit it right on the head. It's all a matter of opinion of who you think is the greatest to ever do it. I can sit here and say LeBron is, D'Lo can sit here and say Michael Jordan is. I can walk down the street and somebody might say it's Bill Russell. So it's all a matter of opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's all a matter of opinion. So you gotta, as long as why can't we just give everybody their flowers? Why can't we just do that? Because, but it's always going to be a debate though, because you're going to look at somebody's prowess on this court, and it's always going to be 1A, 1B, Kobe, and then whoever else come after that. But D'Lo made another point. Kareem, if you look at his numbers up until last year, he is the greatest to ever do it. But his impact on the game of basketball wasn't as heavy as, say, a Michael Jordan or a LeBron or a Steph Curry, or a Kobe Bryant. He changed the game with the sky hook, but he didn't change it as far as the media is concerned, the audience is concerned, the fashion is concerned, the mentality is concerned, things of that nature. He was a quiet guy for the most part, but
he was fighting for the culture, not fighting for.
He was fighting for the culture,
entertainment,
100%. And it's just, we just got to find out a way to give everybody their flowers while they still here, man. Because Magic, if you're looking at point guards, a lot of people, the majority will say that Magic is probably the best point guard to ever play. But you got a different 6'9" PG that can play every position on the court. But you got a lot. We're in a different area. We're in a different millennium now that people are seeing Steph Curry and the things he's doing on the court, and the moxie that he plays with and the way he shoots the basketball. They're gonna always say a lot of people are gonna say he's the best player, the best PG to ever do it. But let's stop. Just like Dito said, let's stop pitting our greats against the current players. Let's just try to find out a way to kind of bring it all together and say, hey, everybody's great in their own right. Steph did this very, very well. So did Magic do this, and LeBron and Jordan and Kobe and all the conversations. Let's just find a way to do that.
It won't stop though.
It'll
never stop because it not only does it spark conversation amongst across all platforms, it also drives a lot of money because you have these individuals like ourselves, like the people on Fox Sports 1 or ESPN that have these conversations that get views because of people are, enamored with their opinions of who they believe the best is. They'll bring in former athletes, teammates of these individuals that they're discussing. And so, you drive all of this attention and energy to one topic of who is the best, and you pit this person versus this person. Don't matter who it is, honestly. And people are going to listen, and that is in turn money. Everything's about money these days. I just mentioned the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift thing is purely economical now. Not their relationship, but the relationship and how it's turning out with the Swifties joining watching the NFL. The NFL is taking advantage of it by making profiting off of it. Same with this. Whoever reported this is going to make the money because you have people talking about it like us that aren't as professional or aren't seen as professional, and we put it out. People discuss it. People go to the article, look at it. It gets views, advertising dollars come in. So it's a trickle effect to get money, man. Realistically, we all know it's a matter of opinion, but because the arguments and the debates are so heated of who is the best and why they're the best and why this person isn't the best because of his falters in this game and why it doesn't matter as much as the falter of this person in this game. This is, it's all economical, man. So will it ever end? I don't think it will. But the day that we don't give so much energy to who is the greatest of all time and have a respectable conversation about it and not so many heated debates is the day that we'll stop hearing it. And I don't think that'll be any time in the future.
I don't think so either. But Dilo, who's the best point guard of all time?
Best point guard of all time, I believe, is Magic Johnson. I mean, Steph Curry, realistically, Steph Curry probably is a shooting guard, but for the mere fact of his height and the amount of times that he has the ball in his hands, you got to consider him a point guard. I'll go so far as to say this too, though. It's Magic, and then you're gonna like this one, and then I'm gonna go with Gilbert Arenas. It's LeBron. If you want to be honest,
if you want to keep it real, yeah.
I mean, he's what, number 4 all time in assists. That's a point guard stat.
100%.
That's a traditional point guard stat. Now we know point guard position is evolving. You have your Kyries, your Stephs of the worlds. So, it's not so much making sure that you get your other players involved and feeding it to the big man all the time. You're actually allowed to score the ball now. But I mean, it's Magic, man. Magic got the whole team involved. He's what the Showtime. We talk about Showtime Lakers now. He was what brought Showtime Lakers into the fold of everything. So I mean, it's got to be Magic.
I think it's Magic too. I think it's Magic. I think Magic is definitely the greatest point guard to ever play, especially with his size, his grace on the court, the way he passed the ball, the way he did a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? The way he went about the game itself. Like you said, he did bring the Showtime Lakers to LA. So, and whenever the Showtime Lakers was in town, everybody watched. And a lot of the times they were watching for Magic Johnson. So I think he's the greatest point guard of all time. Steph Curry is up there. Steph is up there. But to your point, and what I've been trying to tell everybody I talk to about this, Steph is a traditional shooting guard. He's a traditional shooting guard. He should be playing shooting guard, which is why I'm excited to see Chris Paul in Golden State, because Chris Paul, your boy, and he my boy too.
Point guard.
The point guard is now in Golden State. So I'm excited to see how him running the traditional point and Steph being at the shooting guard position, how that's going to work out, because he can now, and he don't have as much responsibility on. Now he can just run around like he always do and make everybody tired and then shoot threes. He can do that now because he ain't got to bring the ball up court, because you got Chris Paul for that now. So Magic, Too Complex has said that Magic is the best point guard of all time. Steph, you still a beast. You still a beast. I remember playing against your behind when we played against you at Davidson, and I was tired, but I'm not gonna talk about that. But because I was guarding your behind and I was running around chasing you the whole time, you punk. But he's still great. He's still great. He's still great. Okay. He's still great. He's still great in his own right too, man. And Steph had all right to say that, because what else? Like D-Lo said,
in his own right, he is great.
He is great. Well, yeah, he is great. Let me not say that.
He is great.
That's true. He is great. So, and he had all right to say that, because what else is he gonna say? He is one of the greatest of all time. That's a fact. That's a fact.
So, not to step on your ending of the segment, you're wrapping up of the segment.
What's up?
But what you just said sparked it. Why is it that we allow certain individuals to be arrogant, and then the ones that were humble for so long, and now they start to show a bit of arrogance? Why do we get rubbed the wrong way about that?
I don't know. Okay. That is interesting to say.
Because for so long, LeBron was humble, right? And it even rubs me the wrong way. I'm gonna be honest with you. He was humble for so long. Like, he kind of played it off. No, not the greatest. This and that. And then I think after he lost the finals. After he won in Cleveland is whenever he declared himself the greatest of all time. But right.
Yeah.
But when he lost the finals against the Mavericks, and I think the interview after the post game conference, one of the reporters said, "How do you feel knowing that everybody wants to see you fail?" And he's like, "I don't care, because at the end of the day, these individuals got to go back to doing what they were doing today, going back to their lives yesterday, and I'm going to do the things with my life as I see fit, and trying to figure out how to be the best that I can." It seems like ever since then he's been more arrogant about his position in basketball. Why is it that the Steph Currys of the world, the LeBrons of the world, those individuals that held those positions and characteristics of being humble, when they are arrogant, we get rubbed the wrong way about that?
It ruffles feathers, because it's something that is out of the ordinary for that person. So, say for instance, I'm I've been told that I have a good mix of humble confidence, right? If I was to turn that humble off and be arrogant all the time, it would rub you the wrong way, because you're used to me being a certain type of person. So it's the same thing with the NBA.
I know you personally, though.
True, but
I know the true you. Whereas we know of these individuals. We want to think we know them personally, but we don't really know these people personally.
But see, that's just like the J. Cole line. He was like, "I tell my story in front of strangers who know a nigga far too well." Oh, I didn't mean to say the N word, but you know what I mean.
It's all
But
good.
Jay said that. He said, I tell my story in front of strangers who know me far too well. And that's the danger. They know me better than I know myself, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how people feel about Steph and LeBron, because they see their life on the court, on social media, and different interviews. So whenever they see something different out of that person, it's like, damn, where this come from? Who is this person I'm watching on TV right now? I don't understand that. And like you said, it ruffles my feathers a little bit too. But it's just like whenever he gave that speech at the SBC, he was like, I was like, bruh, come on now. Like, really? Like, that you had to say that? Like, you know, lucky for y'all, it ain't over yet. Like, what you mean lucky for y'all? Like, what you mean, bruh? What do you mean by that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean by that?
He wasn't really talking to us. He was talking to the NBA.
True.
Is who he's talking to.
True.
Lucky
true,
for
because
y'all,
bring that revenue in.
Y'all can still make money off of me.
You can bring that revenue in. But I mean, I think this ruffles people's feathers because they're not used to seeing that side of them. And they used to seeing that real laid back, kind of humble confidence that I kind of call it, because they're still confident, but they just kind of keep it under wraps because they know that that's not their persona. But whenever people see it, it's like, ugh, it's like that's stank. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of see that. I kind of see why people get like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, in an interview with Euro Hoops, former NBA player and current FC Barcelona member Jabari Parker had some harsh criticisms of the NBA, calling it watered down. This is the second time we heard watered down. That might need to be the title. That might need to be the title.
Need to be.
Parker said, I just want to be a part of something legitimate. I want to be a part of every game matter. Sadly, the NBA is a business, and there are 10 to 12 teams that try to win every game, and the other half try to get a draft pick. Sticks, what's your thoughts on Parker's statements about the NBA?
I agree with him. I agree with Jabari Parker, because we also had, Patrick Beverley come out and say there's a bunch of people in the league that ain't taking it serious, that don't go hard all the time, that don't want to practice, don't want to work out. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of, they try to just go off raw ability and don't try to put their time in the gym. And I can kind of see, the NBA kind of being in that same realm where it's like, you have these, it's a business. And even with me, I'll give a little bit of my background. Even with me, when I was in Atlanta and I ruptured my hamstring and they got me back healthy. And since I wasn't a draft pick, they didn't have any stock in me. Since it's a business and nothing personal, it's a what have you done for me lately kind of business, kind of league. They kicked me up out of there because they didn't have, I wasn't under contract. I hadn't played any games. I was trying to get a spot probably on the practice squad, trying to make travel squad, trying to make the 70-man roster. But I got hurt. I spent more time in the training room than I did on the field for about a week or so. And they were like, all right, bro, you got to go. I had my pink slip and my one-way ticket back to North Carolina from Atlanta the next day. So, and and all of these leagues are like that, just like he even mentioned like your DeMarcus Cousins, Dwight Howard, John Walls, who are future Hall of Famers that are not even on a team, on a roster right now. And why is that? When these guys can help you easily win games, why are they not on the roster? Same thing for Jabari Parker. He had a really good. He had the beginning of his career was good. He was progressing pretty well. Then he had some injuries and some harsh injuries that came out, and he hasn't really been the same player since. And he hasn't really been in the NBA since. But he, like he said, he wants to be a part of something legitimate, something that the league has a love for. And all the teams in that league also have a love for it, because these guys came up playing basketball since they were kids and they love the game of basketball. But if the league isn't legitimate as he thinks it should be, then why would he want to be a part of that? Because he said, just like D-Lo mentioned, he's a part of FC Barcelona now. And when he got there, he felt like it was just the right thing to do. They made him an offer he couldn't resist. And he felt the love within the organization the moment he stepped foot in there. So I think he has a point with what he's saying, because a lot of these leagues are the same way. It's what have you done for me lately? But Jabari Parker hasn't done much for the NBA lately. I haven't seen him on a roster in a while. And when he has been on a roster, he's been okay, but he hasn't been a needle mover. So I agree with him. What you think?
I agree also. I think the NBA is watered down, but not for I don't think it's anything that the NBA is purposefully doing. I think with all of the, again, I'm all about, everything's about money, so not me personally, but I'm seeing, as we talk about different topics, that everything really boils down to the money. And so I don't think the NBA and its organizations purposefully water down the league, or players purposefully, they directly say, all right, we're gonna make sure that we water these players down. I just think with all of the different business avenues, whether that be players chasing the next big check, or the different advertising dollars that come in, or the different contracts outside of basketball that the players get, or them getting pulled in many different directions, it's what waters the players down. They get inundated with all of this outside basketball operation stuff, that the actual, when it comes to playing a game, it's like they want to put their all into it, but really, can they put their all into it? Because they're getting pulled in so many different ways. They're thinking about in press conferences, all right, I got to mention this sponsor. I got to make sure this is positioned a certain way so that my sponsor has this and that. It's so much outside of basketball that just sucks the life and the love out of players when it comes to I was about to say pause, but then I was like, it's just so much. It's just so much that sucks the love out of the players when it comes to professional basketball, that it does water it down. They don't really give their all during the season. Now, when the playoffs hit, it's very different. Those 12 teams that were trying to win now turns to 16, or how many players? 16. 16 teams. Yeah, 16 teams. So, I mean, I think Draymond even mentioned it before, and had same sentiments about everything that goes on outside of actually playing basketball. When he actually gets on the court,
he's tired.
The thing that he actually loves to do, he's worn down. He has to draw up the energy to give his all and be there for his teammates. So I mean, it's watered down because of outside factors, and not anything that the NBA has purposefully done. I can also say that, and I think I mentioned this last week, certain individuals get to a certain point in life, and the love that they have for whatever it is that they thought they loved, it's just not there anymore. They get what they wanted. Like for me, for instance, I always envisioned myself going to college playing football. Never truly, this is making me a little bit vulnerable, but never truly envisioned myself playing professional football. I accomplished what I envisioned myself doing. The next step was up to me to find the motivation to do it. And some days I had that motivation, some days I didn't, and a lot of injuries happened. So, I mean, a lot plays into the watered down NBA now. And then, as we talked about earlier with hip hop, the watered down hip hop industry. So, I mean, it's just a lot of different things.
It is, man. And, hopefully, I don't think anything is going to change as far as the NBA is concerned, because of course, as a business, they're not going to think the same way that Jabari Parker thinks. But I do see what he's saying, because you have 10 to 12 teams that we could probably sit here and name if we wanted to, that go into every season trying to win, from their the offseason moves that they try to make, the contract negotiations that they actually put in place. And the way that they structure their team, they're trying to win. From your Warriors, your Lakers, now your Bucks, your Suns, your Heat, those teams that are constantly in the playoffs every single year, Boston, Toronto, all of those teams that are always in the playoffs every single year. You see them, but I don't know if he's saying that the other teams are tanking to try to get the best talent that's coming out of either
I think that's what he's saying.
I think so. I think so too.
The reason I know that's what he's saying is because those teams that you just mentioned, the Bostons, the LAs, the Miamis, the Warriors, those type of teams, those are destination locations. Like
True.
it doesn't matter if I get a draft pick or not. In free agency, I'm more than likely, if I have the cap space and I really want to get this player, a player that I want, I can pull them from another team and get them to my destination because I'm a destination location. And the reason that these teams really try to win is because, again, they are destination locations. There are other things outside of that basketball team that people can get drawn to do. And where in these smaller markets, that's all. I mean, I'm not gonna say that's all that's there, but it's not as it's not that many attractive things outside of going to a basketball game that they can get involved with.
Like
With
your
Miami,
Milwaukee's, your Portlands, and your Indiana Pacers.
right? You know, those type of
true.
schools, Charlotte Hornets, those type of
schools,
those type of organizations. But Miami, I can go sit on the beach. LA, I can go up to the beach. I can go to the mountains. I can go to these
Rodeo
different
Drive.
areas.
I can go shop. I
can do all this. New York, I can do this. So those teams, they have to win, because if they don't, nobody is going to the game. Whereas teams that don't win, it might not be the games might not be sold out, but some people are going to come to the games, especially if I bring in, especially we playing Milwaukee or Charlotte is playing the Los Angeles Lakers today, and I get to see hopefully LeBron play and AD play and those type of teams. So that I understand what he's saying in that regard, because yes, those teams have no choice to win, because if they don't, nobody's going to the game, and they might as well not be in that city.
True, and with you saying that, then it all goes back to revenue. All goes back to revenue. Revenue comes into the organization, but it also comes into that city and that state as well, because you're bringing in tourists. The tourists are going shopping. Capitalism is a real thing, so it's going to happen. So if you have that destination location, you got that big star in there, people are going to come to the games. They're going to go be tourists. They're going to go shop. They're going to see the sights. They're going to go on the beach. They're going to go do all of the things that are in that city, but the other half have to get that talent, so that way they can sell tickets and bring that revenue in for that city. So I see what he's saying. I agree with Jabari Parker. That's where the watered down effect is coming in. And I agree with Jabari Parker, because you see it. You see it every year. If you watch sports, you see it every single year in the NBA, the NFL, MLB. If you watch baseball, if you watch hockey, even if you watch soccer, these guys are getting paid this so much money because either they
not
have
really
to
not really here in the States for soccer.
True,
it's starting to turn that way.
It's starting to turn over a little bit, but
anyway. But
these national leagues, overseas, these national teams, yeah. But you can see it. It is definitely watered down, and it's definitely a revenue. It's a revenue grab. It's a money grab. A lot of it is a money grab. So we have to see how it goes, man. Good luck to Jabari Parker out there in FC Barcelona. Hopefully he gets another chance, and hopefully the other guys that he named, like the DeMarcus Cousins, the White Howards, and John Walls, get the opportunity to be back on a team. But you got to see what happens, man.
Yeah,
got to see what happens.
Sticks, episode 39. We creeping up to 50, bro.
We creeping up to 50, bro. We're creeping up to 50, man.
We still ain't figured out what we're going to do, but we still have a little bit of time to figure out what we'll do for that 50th episode.
We got a couple months before that happens.
Yeah. But anyway, we appreciate you We appreciate you tuning in to Too Complex. Remember that life is short and oftentimes complex. But when times get too complex, don't be afraid to lean on those that you love and help to find simplicity and balance in life. Stay prayed up in this crazy world. A few requests sent above can send you return you a bunch of peace and sanity. We want to thank you for listening to our podcast and supporting our podcast. It means a lot to us. We're sending our love right back to you. Don't forget to subscribe to whatever podcast platform that you're listening to, and follow us on all of your social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Until next time, we'll see you when you see me. Peace out.
Salute.
I said all kind of stuff there. I think I said Pee-wee. I think I said... I'm keeping this in too.
You got to keep it in
there, bro. This is staying in. I said all kind of stuff.
Be out. I just let it rock. Because I knew it whenever I look back at that camera and when I look back at your face on the screen, you was going to be like.
yeah. It's all staying in, bro.
It's all good, man. We love y'all, man.
We out.
We out.